Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Poduska, star maker for entrepreneurs who want to unlock their potential, command any stage, and make blockbuster profits. Welcome to Thrive, the show where I bring you tips, resources, and people to help you create a brand that makes you happy and profitable. Here we go. Hi, everyone. This is Heather Poduska, and welcome to Thrive, the show where I bring you tips, resources, and people to help you create a more abundant life and business. You are in for 30 minutes of high-value content coming to you from industry leaders who are growing their business, making an impact, and rocking their brands. And I am so thrilled to have my guest with me here today, the beautiful, lovely, sweet, smart Joanna Lindenbaum. Joanna has supported thousands of women to achieve business and personal success by teaching them to tap straight into their feminine wisdom alongside concrete marketing, visibility, and business building techniques. Joanna is the founder of Soulful Coaching for Business Women and the creator of the Your Sacred Business Program, an entrepreneur training intensive where women make breakthroughs, forward movement, and income growth in their businesses and their lives. Joanna, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, and I love, you and I know each other for a while now, and I love that we are here and that we're two mommies and we are making this interview happen come hell or high water.
Yes, we're persistent.
Yes, we are. We've had some technical issues getting started, but, that's just part of being an entrepreneur, and, it's part of having a busy, full, juicy life with everything that comes with it, for sure.
Yes.
So
if there's one thing that I've learned, it's that, you just got to keep on plodding through.
Yeah, and don't you think that it's especially true for women? I'm sorry, I know that the guys work really hard too, but I think that there are just so many balls up in the air for women that we have to manage. I think it's a little bit trickier.
It is, and I think that one of the things about being a woman entrepreneur and a mom entrepreneur, but honestly, even if you don't have kids, as women, we're taking care of our parents, and it just there's always more than one thing. I think that we really become masters at learning what to prioritize when and how to, really making all of those puzzle pieces fit, which is a lot. It's a lot for us to do, and I think it's a big thing that we don't acknowledge ourselves enough for.
Yeah, I agree. And you work really specifically with women to help them do that. Can you tell our audience more about your work and how you support women business owners?
Absolutely. So I help women who are really, they're business owners, but what I would say even more than business owners, they're really the next wave of transformational leaders. I support the women who their mission is really to help heal the world. And the work that I do with them is very, very deep and very, very sacred. Yes, for sure, we look at marketing and we look at operations and we look at, bottom line numbers and achieve goal after goal there. But I think what's unique about the way that I support women is that we do it we start from the inside. We start from who you are and what it is that you really want. And what I always like to say is when you grow your business, you grow your sacred self. And that's what I really do with my clients.
That's beautiful. I love that. Can you say a little bit more? What does it mean to grow your sacred self? What is that? What does it mean to be sacred? What is a sacred business model? What does that word mean to you?
Yeah. So I love that you're asking this question, and it's so interesting because nobody has ever asked me what that means, but it's so perfect because this word sacred, it can sometimes get used, but, what does it really mean? And for me, what it means is that no matter where you're at with your business, no matter what's happening in your life, that first and foremost, you have a deep, deep connection with your truest, most authentic self, and that you value that authentic, true self, and that your business is an extension of that. It's not separate from yourself, from who you really are. It's not separate from what you hold most dear in the world, but that your business is truly another piece of that.
Yeah, I love that. And when I work with clients, it's the same thing. It's a little bit different approach. I'm sure it's very different because you and I have really different energy. And I love the way that you're so sensual, and the way that you talk about it, and I can hear it in your voice. And I tend to have sort of really like fast energy, but it's the same thing. It's the same concept of finding your voice. And I think so many women especially, but I think all people struggle with trusting that. And that's why it's so important to have mentors and coaches be a mirror to them and say, yes, it's okay. Here, I just picture this little foal, wobbling on their legs until they're ready to sprint. But I think that is also sacred work. It's not just that it's sacred work that we do for the client as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And what I would say, just as you were talking, it was making me think of a client example, which is there's a little bit of a different angle than finding your voice, which is absolutely also what I help with. But I want to give this example because I think it's so poignant. So I had a session with a client yesterday, this amazing, amazing healer. She does incredible work, and we had just worked for a couple of months to really level up her business in big ways. And she went from leading one group to leading multiple groups at the same time. They had all just started at the beginning of the year. There's all of this swirl of energy. And, she said to me, okay, so what's next? Let's look at, what's going to happen next. And I said to her, are you sure you're ready to go full force into what you want next? This immense level up just happened. What would happen for you if you spend a month and obviously continued your marketing and your activities, but you took a month, 6 weeks to savor this new place that you were in, to really settle in deeply, to love up all of those many new clients that had just come in, to make sure that all of your systems and your operations were in place now that you're in this, evolved place in your business. It doesn't have to be rush to the next thing. And as soon as I said that to her, she took this deep breath, she said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's exactly what I need. I want to enjoy this moment instead of rushing to the next thing.
Yeah, I love that, and it's such an important concept, even on a bigger plane of thinking about it, because we all want more clients, we all want more money, we all want more in every way. We want bigger lives and all of those things, and I love that. I think that's a fantastic thing to want more, because it's such an abundant universe. Of course, we want more, but to take that, there's no rush. Right, and I think that's the piece that you're talking about and also I think there's a piece of allowing that if you're constantly pushing, you're not staying open enough to let things happen in a way that could be magical too.
Yes, absolutely, and that's the sacred piece, is that if we're going to hold our businesses sacred, there are moments to push and go and plod, and then there are moments to be and take in and enjoy, or, reorient, whatever it is. I think that so much these days has been lost because of this impulse to just blow through things, to rush through things, to create more and more. I agree with you. I think it's a great thing to create more and more. But if we're really going to hold ourselves sacred, our lives sacred, our businesses sacred, it's about really knowing when is a time to go and when is a time to be and create more space.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. It's that knowing. So I'm going to ask you, how do you know? How do you know that it's not just your resistance is not, I don't want to sit down and write this sales letter versus Wait a minute, I need to take a breath here.
Yeah. It's sort of like that question of like, how do you know the difference between fear and intuition almost? Because it'd be way too easy to say, I have this intuition, I shouldn't, reach out to these prospects, but really it's just fear speaking instead. And for me, I think it's different for everyone, but I can say for myself and for so many women that I've spoken to and that I've coached, I'd say it's a difference between what I hear in my head versus what I feel in my body. So when I hear that voice in my head of, you don't have time for this, it's going to be such a waste, it's, like that whiny kind of limiting voice in my head, that's when I know it's the fear. That's when I know it's the resistance. But if I feel in my heart or I feel in my stomach, and by the way, whether you're spiritual or not spiritual, woo-woo, not woo-woo, whatever, this is real, right? We all have had feelings in our body. When I feel it in my body, and it's just like I can feel in my stomach or my heart just like this no, that's not right for right now, then I know that's my intuition speaking.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that the body is such a great barometer for almost everything in our lives. And I think that when we're sitting in front of our computer, we're in our heads a lot of times. Yes. And your body is this beautiful instrument saying, hey, wait a minute, I have some really valuable information for you. Just listen to me for a second.
I totally agree. And I love that you're mentioning that because I oftentimes tell clients, if you have a big decision to make, don't make it in front of the computer. The computer really activates that mental energy, which is so important, obviously. But if you have a big decision to make, you want to make it from your heart. And actually, when I teach sales and when I talk to prospects myself, I have this whole process that, I give prospects to do and think on, but one of the things I say is when you make that decision, walk away from the computer. Go to a place that's sacred for you, put a hand on your heart, put a hand on your belly, and you will know if it is right to step into a program or not.
That's a great tip. I love that. That's a great tip because for lots of reasons, because, just the energy from the screen and the light affects your brain differently.
Yes. And also, probably everyone on earth does this. We're in front of the computer, we're working on something important, and then we're like, let me check Facebook. What's
No, I never do that.
And it distracts us from the important whatever we're doing at hand. It breaks that flow and that focus. So the computer is good for so many things, but not for making big decisions.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great tip. So what would you say to people about, you said go to a sacred place. So is that something you advise your clients to do? How do you know what a sacred place is for you? What are the qualities of a sacred place? How do you create one? What is that?
Yeah, it's so simple. It can be as simple as if you love your living room, just going and sitting on your couch. Or it can be about just taking a walk outside or finding a green place. I don't think that it needs to have any particular qualities other than it's a place where you feel comfortable, where you feel like you can settle in for a couple of moments and feel spaciousness and really connect with yourself.
I love that. Yeah, I think one thing, and it goes along with not sitting in front of the computer, is that to limit yourself from not just distractions, but outside influences. Not just a distraction, but something, even if you had pictures of people that might influence you a certain way around, that can be a distraction in a different way to have those influences. Yeah. You can really hear your own voice and clear your head. I love that. Awesome. So what are some ways that tapping into that you call it the sacred space, what are ways that you've seen businesses evolve differently having access to that versus not having access to that?
Yeah. Honestly, it can change everything. So, for example, I'll give a couple of examples. I had one client who we had helped her build a very successful business, and it was wonderful for quite some time, and then it started becoming stale. It was like she wasn't so excited about working with her clients. She just wasn't getting excited about things, but she kept on just going, doing what she always did. We had great marketing funnels in place. We knew how to make her money, but it really I could see that it was slowly getting to this place of this isn't making her happy anymore. And so I gave her an assignment, and I actually said, I want you to take off. If you could take a full day, it's great. But if you want to take a half day off, take a half day off. And I want you to get out of the house. Go take a walk in the woods, go to a cafe that you love, don't bring your computer, whatever it is for you. And you don't even need to journal or, do anything specific, but I want you to just create space for yourself and hold the following question: what needs to change? What needs to change to really make you happy, to get you to your next place of feeling fulfilled and as if your business is fully meaningful and fully sacred? And, what she came back with was that she was getting really tired of doing so much online work, that she was at a place in her life where being face-to-face with people was much more energizing. And so we worked to switch up her business model, to change her offerings so that there was less online time and more face time. And it was like the next rush of income came in after that, because that was the next aligned place for her to go.
I think that what you just said is so important because it's one of the things that I do with my clients, too, is to help them understand where their talent is and where their energy goes. And there's so much push because you can make so much money online. I mean, it's crazy. It's just limitless potential. But if you are not fired up by doing that, it's going to limit your individual growth, no matter how many millions of dollars the next guru is making. It doesn't matter if it's not fitting your energy, your talent, your preferences, and all of those things. And I love what you said because I think it shows that you're a good coach, Joanna, because I think a lot of people have a way of doing business and it's their model and that's what they preach. This is the way to do it. And I love that you're flexible and you're honoring your clients by saying, okay, wait a minute, let's see what's going to work for you. And I think that that's something that's hard as entrepreneurs, too, when we go into an agreement with working with a coach. You want to learn what they've learned. That's why you're paying them the money. You want their expertise, but you also have to really honor who you are and take from them what applies to you. And if it's not the business model that you want to create, or they're saying, this is the way. And I've had that experience when I was singing as well, that there are different, should you push in with your stomach? Should you, pull in with your stomach? Should you use your back muscles? Should you use your abdominal muscles? All these different, but the goal is to make a beautiful sound, right?
Yeah.
And the goal in business is to
comfortable while you make it.
Exactly.
Possible.
Exactly. And what works for your body and for your way of thinking. And I think it's great when a coach honors the individuality of the entrepreneur. What would you say to an entrepreneur who is looking for a coach and they want someone that's going to help honor them? What would be some signs to look for in that person?
Yeah. Well, first of all, like you're saying, you don't want to do a cookie cutter approach. So, and I think there's a lot of that out there these days. Exactly what you're saying. What's right for one person, a business model or a marketing approach or a schedule that's right for one person isn't going to be right for the next. So if there's any hint of any kind of cookie cutter, it's not, especially for soulful women that are looking for that sacredness in their lives and in their business and to feel, meaning and fulfillment. You want to stay away from that. What you really want to look for is someone who absolutely knows how to help, market, knows how to help activate people, understands about those pieces. But I think personally what's even more important than that is knowing how to tease out, number one, what's right for you and what's not right for you. But here's the other piece that's so important, is that not only do all of us have our own unique business that we want, that shouldn't be cookie cutter, but we each actually have our own unique ideal client. And how you speak to one person's ideal client by way of marketing is very different than how another entrepreneur should speak to their ideal client. And so when I say don't go cookie cutter, I don't just mean business model and schedule, but I literally mean in terms of how you're approaching your ideal clients, the types of marketing avenues you're using, and then, of course, your language, which, Heather, you do so well, is so much about finding your voice. But you really want it personalized. You want to personalize your business from top to bottom. Of course, it's great, other people have achieved success out there, and there's models and there's templates, but it's really about using that law of adaptation on all levels to make it work for you. And then I think the other really important piece here, I have to go back to this concept of space, because I know for myself that the more space I've given myself, the more successful I've become, and the same is true for my clients. You want to really look for a mentor who can sense in to what your rhythms are and help you identify what is it that my
slower or more mellow, and you have someone who's really energetic, it may make you feel more energetic and excited, but it also might overwhelm you. And the reverse is true too. If you are someone who's like really driven and excitable, if you find someone, no matter how smart they are, if their energy is slower and lower, it can, because I'm really high revved, right? So sometimes for me, like, come on, I need more to push against. And it doesn't matter how smart they are, how great their strategies are, my energy needs more. So that's just one, I love what you said, and that would just be one piece that I would add is that energy piece too. So, but I love that. And I think that starting from, one of the things I always bring it back to singing is you have to start with your own voice. You want to pay attention. I mean, if you do a concert and you're trying to fill the hall and you happen to love Philip Glass, you're probably going to have a really small audience. So it's not just you're not just doing what you love all the time, because you want to cater to the audience to some degree too, right? Because there has to be a market for what you're putting out there. But it does have to start with your voice, because if you can't sing over a Wagner orchestra, you're going to shred your chords. So, and it's the same in business. You have to start where you are, what your soul is telling you to do, so that you can keep your mind, body, soul in alignment, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And, what I would add to that is it's okay, even if you're a developed entrepreneur, if you don't want to fill, to use your metaphor, if you don't want to fill the biggest hall ever, right? So it's not, for some people, they're meant to be big, rock stars on the stage with thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people, cheering them on as they sing. But for other people, and it's so funny that, I'm talking to you, the singing, because I actually wrote an article with this singing metaphor. But for other people, put them in a hall with 200 people, and it's intimate, and there's, they're not just singing song after song, but they're interacting with the audience, and those followers are going to, follow them for every single show, right? Invest in every single program that you have. They're looking for that intimacy. They want to go deep, deep, deep. That just might be where your business stays, and there is nothing wrong with that. Sometimes people will pay a higher ticket price for that than to be in a room of thousands and thousands of people at, the big rock star stage.
Yeah, so, I totally agree, yeah.
Yeah, so it's also about, what kind of business do you want? How deep do you want to go with the people that you serve? Are you an intimate person, or are you just this, outward, want to talk to thousands and thousands and thousands? And, I often tell my clients is don't look at what other people are doing on Facebook. Because that's going to take you down a rabbit hole into disconnecting from yourself and from your deepest desires.
I love that.
Instead, really stick with what is it that I truly want? What is my rhythm? What is my energy? What is my mission in the world? Maybe not even forever, but for this phase of my life. And go after that. That is what is going to help you feel most abundant and happiest.
What do you mean by not even for this phase of your life?
Yeah, so for example, if you have young kids, it may or may not be the right moment to be traveling on a book tour around the world. It may or may not be the right moment to really work deeply with, smaller groups of folks. I'm not saying necessarily, right, each person is different. Someone might have young kids and want to be traveling the world, right? It totally depends on where you are in your evolution. You may have done the big rock star thing, and now you want to create space to write a book. You want to keep some of your programming going, but it's like your ego is satisfied. You could reach those thousands in those other ways, and now you want to write this book. So don't let fear or expectation dictate.
Hi everyone, I hope you're enjoying the show. There's still more great content to come, but I wanted to take just a minute to talk to you about a new course I've created called Close Any Room. You may have noticed that all of my guests know how to speak about their businesses in a clear and compelling way. But that's something a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, and it's something you need to know how to do so you can convert your audience into more sales. And that's why I've created this course. It's a 6-week audio course to teach you how to craft a signature talk so that you can authentically give value and close more of your audience from the stage. In the class, you learn how to create a clear and compelling point of view, how to organize your content and give great value to your audience without giving away the farm, how to structure your talk so that it seamlessly closes your audience at the end without feeling salesy. And I also give you templates and instructions how to create marketing materials, a speaker sheet, and all kinds of sign-up sheets when you're giving your talks. And finally, what everybody's hot to know, I also give you tips and resources on how to find speaking gigs. It's an all-inclusive course so that you can start closing and selling more from the stage. And as my free gift to you for tuning into the podcast, I'm giving you my free webinar, also called Close Any Room, and you can listen to it at clearvoicebranding.com/close-any-room. And it will give you lots of tips and information to get you started on how to create that signature talk that sells. Okay, we're going to get back to the show now. There's still more great content to come. Thanks for joining me.
business, your business model, how you market, any of it, let it really come from what it is you want most.
I really love that. Oh, you're so smart. But it's true, because sometimes you get in a groove and you're so used to doing things a certain way. And I love the thing that you said about taking space and checking in. Is this what I want now? It might have been what I wanted 3 years ago, and I'm still operating under that assumption. But and I think that that's another way that you check in with your body. Why am I all of a sudden having a tight neck? You know, I'm doing this thing I've always done, kind of like your client that you were talking about before.
Yeah.
What doesn't feel right? And sometimes it can just be like you feel like you've got a little pebble in your shoe and you're not sure what, and that's when you need to take those pauses and say, is this what I want now moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. And it shows up so much in marketing too. I mean, I can't tell you how many women I've spoken to that they don't feel great about their marketing. They don't really want to do outreach, whatever it is. And then when we've looked at why, what's come up is, they've made promises in their marketing that isn't like, that's not what their true brilliance is, that's not what their true work is, but they see other people doing that on Facebook, and they think, oh, this is what I need to offer in order to make money or in order to get clients. And what I always tell them is, no, if you want to get more clients, if you want to attract more clients, the best way to do that is to offer what your true brilliance is, not what you think you need to offer.
Yeah, I think that's something people struggle with, though, that they don't know. And they don't know what their true brilliance is. They have an idea. And sometimes I think, and sometimes, honestly, I don't think you know what your true brilliance is until you get out there and try a couple of things.
Yeah, it's true.
I know for me, like doing branding and business building and business coaching, all those things that I like to do, I did a master class this year and coached people on their bodies and their presentation, their stage presence, and I was like, well, Heather, you're such a dummy. Of course this is your zone of genius. You did this for 30 years, right?
I love it. I know. As I'm hearing you talk, because I know you, Heather, I'm like, of course that's your zone of genius.
But I didn't, I'll tell you honestly, because this maybe will help some of our listeners, I didn't know if people would value that. And saying it now, it's like, oh, come on, of course, but because it was not related to business when I was doing it, I was like, well, I don't know if people are going to want that. And I'm sharing that because I think that's something that shows up for other people too, is they're afraid of what their real genius is, if it's really, especially if it's not, I don't know what the right word is, traditional maybe?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we haven't spoken about it much on this conversation. It'll be for another conversation, but, for myself, I combine business building and ritual training. And I remember when I first started out, I was like, what are people are going to see business and ritual together, and they're going to think that's crazy, that's not going to be of interest at all. And as it turns out, one of the biggest reasons why women come to me is because it's the ritual that keeps them grounded in their business, that keeps them persistent, consistent, that gives them the best marketing ideas. So you're absolutely right. It's like we have a tendency to want to shy away from what we love so much and what comes so easily to us and that brilliance, but that's actually what is going to draw most people to you.
So let me ask you, why do you think we do that?
I think that at the core, this is, I think, a much bigger conversation, but I think that at the core, for as much as we may love ourselves and hold ourselves sacred, we all, in one way or another, also have some kind of shame around our truest, most authentic, just rawest selves. And
amen. I wish we were on Blab right now, because I'd be pushing that button that gives applause.
Yeah, and, I know for myself, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier around, grow your business and you grow your sacred self. I know for myself, the journey of being an entrepreneur has so much been about growing my business and abundance and mission, and all of that, yes. But I can tell you for certain the other benefit of this entrepreneurial journey has been to heal that wound, to heal that shame, to be fully proud of who I am, all of the beauty and all of the goofy and all of the not so great, all of it, because this journey of being an entrepreneur, it asks you to continuously reveal yourself, to continuously be more vulnerable in order to help others. And it is not work for the faint-hearted, but wow, it is just so rewarding if you're able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that was just beautifully said. And I think one of the things that keeps me going in that way is, and I think if people can get their minds around that, I think it'll help free them as well, is that when you are as big as you can be and you share that, it's not being boastful. You're actually liberating other people to be the biggest, best versions of themselves too. Yeah. And it's something I still struggle with it, but once I sort of, okay, this is not just about me. This is about everybody. That really helped me a lot to move forward. I mean, it's a constant journey, but that was a really big piece of learning that once I got, it really sort of took some of the stopgaps away.
Yes. Yeah, and what I often tell women is if you have this, if you have this fear of being too big, of people are going to get upset because you're too loud or you're too big or whatever, what you really want to do is go back and look at your family dynamics. You want to look at your earliest relationships with your sisters, with your brothers, with your parents, and you will find a mirror wound there somewhere. And once you can do that and you can see that this fear of being too big is either about surpassing a loved one or, this unrealistic fear that a loved one will die or get hurt if you get bigger, whatever it is for you, if once you can really identify that and become aware of it, some of that fear will really dissipate too.
Yeah, that's a great tip. I like that. And, of course it comes from you, the deep, soulful, sacred coach. I love that. So let's shift gears. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I want to shift gears slightly from what we're talking about because we're talking about all these deep, wonderful things. But I want to talk about money for a minute. What financial rewards come from having these rituals, and what are some rituals that you think are absolutely necessary to create wealth in your business?
So in terms of, the financial reward question, just tell me what you mean by that. I want to make sure I answer your question instead of going off.
To make bank, baby.
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. So, for myself and for my clients, I've found, I believe without a doubt that I would not have been able to get as far as I've been able to get without ritual. And here's the reason why, because ritual at its core is about taking the intangible, the thoughts, the feelings, the ideas that are just kind of rolling around in your head and your body. Ritual is about taking the intangible and making it concretely tangible, giving it a voice or giving it a concrete form.
I love that answer. That's awesome.
Yeah, and so what I have found is that when I let ideas or thoughts or feelings just roll around in those intangible ways in my body without giving them concrete form in a sacred space, then they oftentimes just stay in my body. They don't go anywhere. But if I'm able to create sacred space and I say, okay, I have this idea for a new program, and I'm really excited about it, but I also feel some fear, and I'm having all these doubts, and all of this is going on. If I can make 30 minutes, if I can make an hour to sit in sacred space And there's so many different ways to do ritual, but if I can maybe do some journaling on it and then light a candle to set an intention, if I can dialogue with my fear so that I can get really clean about the fear, if I can realize that, what's standing in my way is this limiting belief around time, and then I can write what that limiting belief is on a piece of paper and then rip that piece of paper up in a very conscious way, what happens is those blocks, you can concretely work through them, and then you're fully open to take the action that you want.
That was great. So those were 3 concrete tips I wrote down as you were talking. So one is to just some rituals to sit and listen and then light a candle for an intention, journal, and then the other one was to write down what the fear is and physically rip up the paper to release the block. So I love that. You gave concrete examples. That was great.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. And I really loved having you share so much of your wisdom with us. It's been amazing. I loved this conversation. It's so important, and it's clear that you have done a lot of the work on yourself, through your clients, through your work, to really create a sacred space in the market, not just for yourself and your clients, but a real sacred space for people to go and up level, really, as our friend Michelle likes to say, the consciousness of the planet, really. So I applaud you for that. One thing I always ask my clients at the very end, and I think this will probably be an easy question for you, but we have limited time, and we're here right now communing with each other. And in this very moment, what are you most grateful for?
It always comes back to my kids and my husband. So grateful to have them in my life, and the love, and just, especially just feel honored to be the mother of my children.
That's so beautiful. It's so beautiful, and I know that that's true for you. It beams from everything that you post, and I know that that's a big part of why you do what you do, and to be available in the way, not just, with your time, but emotionally and physically, all of those things that we all want to be available to our families, and that you really honor that space in your life. So I think that that's really a beautiful answer. Thank you. So I also am grateful for you to take your time to be here. And as I said, to create that sacred space for your clients in just the awareness of that possibility in the marketplace, that there is a different way to do business. And it's so soul nourishing in a way to do business that way, and financially nourishing to do business in that way, and that you've shown that with your business and the examples of your clients as well. So I really thank you for doing that and for being a light to our industry in that way. So thank you for that, and thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing your heart and your expertise with my audience.
Oh, it was my pleasure. I loved this conversation so much. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it was my pleasure. And before we go, as always, as a thank you to my audience for joining us, I offer my free webinar on how to speak and make more money from the stage. And you can get that at clearvoicebranding.com/close-any-room. And Joanna, before we go off, I wanted to give you a chance to give out your information, so if people wanted to find out more about your programs and services, that they could get in touch with you as well.
Oh, thank you. You can find my website, which is joannalindenbaum.com, and I would just love it, I think you would love it too, whoever is listening, if you would take an assessment. I have this assessment that will help you unlock your sacred business archetype and really activate that transformational leader that's hiding in your fears. Women love this assessment, and it's at
joannalindenbaum.com/assessment. Great. Well, thank you for that gift for the audience. I'm sure they're going to love finding that information and discovering who they are at a deeper level. Thank you. So thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Joanna. And until next time, here's to hitting all your high notes. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Hello?
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Thrive. I loved having you here. I love having you as part of my community. And if you're enjoying the show, I would love it if you share it with your friends on Twitter, on Facebook, or wherever they're hanging out. I also want to let you know you can leave me feedback or comments. I love hearing from you. Just post those at heatherpoduska.com. You can also leave suggestions for topics that you'd like to know more about, or if there's someone you'd really like to see on the show, let me know that as well. Okay, until next time, here's to hitting all your high notes. Take care. Bye-bye.